Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm very happy to have you here, guys. Today I want to try out 6 affordable fragrances for the summertime. I have added some fragrances for women, some fragrances for men, some fragrances marketed as unisex. We have few from Lattafa, a few from Ahmed al Maghribi, so we have a lot more brands. I decided to kind of change things up a little bit. I got bored and tired of only trying out fragrances from a certain brand, especially when I'm curious about all brands and about all fragrances. So I was like, why not mix them up a little bit? So yes, but we have 6 fragrances, but all these are very affordable fragrances. By the way, before I start, if you have tried any of these fragrances that I will talk about in today's video, please share your feedback about the fragrances down below. I would love to hear your feedback on the fragrances. I would love to know what you think about them, if you enjoyed them overall. And also, I'm sure that everyone who's watching this review interested in purchasing any one of these fragrances could really use your feedback as well. So if you don't mind, please share your thoughts about them. So yes, also if you hear a noise, I'm sorry you guys, but it's so hot, so I can't film without the fan on, but I will try to remove the sound in video editing. Let's see, fingers crossed, you know. But yes, let's start. The first fragrance I want to start with is from Lattafa, from the Pride series. This one is called Shaheen Gold. This one, I think it's marketed as unisex. Yeah, this fragrance, honestly, something to keep in mind. Honestly, something to keep in mind. Let this one sit a little bit. When I bought it, basically I bought all those. When I started to speak about Nebras, that's when I bought all of these. But let's just say I tried out first the ones that I was the most curious about, or the ones that I got the most questions on them, and then the ones that I was not really interested in them in a way, I left them to sit. Basically, I kind of forgot about them, you know. But this one, the more it sits, the better it gets. When I first tried it, it was very nice, but it has a slight artificialness in a sense that now I don't detect it as much. So yeah, here are the notes for the fragrance. Yeah, this has a very interesting combo between feminine leaning notes and masculine leaning notes. To me, it's almost like they meet in the middle, you know. You have some nuances and some facets that make you think of a feminine leaning fragrance, but they are like pulled back in a sense, but some nuances and facets that make me think at least of a masculine fragrance. So to me, this smells like... So first of all, you have a beautiful pineapple touch here. So it has this slight sweet, round, full, yellow, tropical, fruity feel. The pineapple here, it's quite warm, it's quite dense, it's quite sweet as well. And you also have in the opening a citrus feel. Now, to me, I don't know what citrus they listed, but I detect bergamot. So yeah, something among the lines of like a pineapple mixed with bergamot. The bergamot is quite... I don't want to say that it's refreshing, because it's definitely not as refreshing as other citrusy pineapple combos that I've tried, but it has a slight sour tinge in a sense, but it fades away pretty fast. So yes, you have all this with a slight artificial shower gel undertone, you know, so you do have a freshness as well to the fragrance, and you have some kind of like minty herbal green facet as well. You get them more in the opening. I feel like as this fragrance starts to develop here on paper as well as on the skin, the citrus is toned down, that like herbal facet, that like green herbal facet tones down. You're left with the mint, with the beautiful pineapple, some like musky mixed with some soft woody hints, and that shower gel freshness. Now, to me, I see why it's marketed as unisex in a sense, because it's not that typical like masculine kind of fragrance, you know, like that stereotypically masculine leaning fragrance. It does have some sweet facets that make it, let's just say, make it more easy to enjoy by a woman as well. But honestly, I don't think I would wear this fragrance. Personally, I would prefer to smell it on a man or on someone else, but it's not the kind of scent profile that I would myself gravitate towards. But if you enjoy these notes in general and you don't mind that slight artificial hint, you know, I don't think you will have any issues with this fragrance. Yeah, it smells beautiful, quite casual, quite sporty. You could dress it up, you could dress it down. I also detect a little bit of vanilla as this fragrance starts to develop on the skin. Yeah, and as it starts to develop, like I told you, you lose the citruses, you lose the herbal green facet, you are left with the mint. The mint is quite strong to my nose. Again, I don't know if it has listed mint, but I detect a lot of mint in this fragrance because it has that specific nose. Like, how to say, it feels like it unclogs your nose in a sense, but it's mixed with the pineapple, it's mixed with a little bit of vanilla, with that like fresh, like blue freshy type of feel. Yeah, it's beautiful. Now, to me, this is the kind of fragrance that I would picture only for warm weather. When I smell this fragrance, I smell summer. Like, I smell hot weather. I don't know, like perhaps a summer party, something, but in warm weather to me. Yeah, I don't think cold weather would do justice to this fragrance, honestly. And now to touch a bit on the gender aspect, look, to me, considering what I like in a fragrance, to me does lean a little bit more on the masculine side, because like I've mentioned, even though you have the pineapple, you have that like slight vanillic touch, but you also have this really strong masculine leaning shower gel facet to the fragrance, perhaps from the lavender, or I'm guessing usually lavender fragrances tends to give me this sensation, you know, with this like soft woody undertone. But I feel like, again, I could picture this one on a woman as well. But you need to have a taste for this kind of fragrances to pull it off as a woman. But also, can I just mention how beautiful the bottle it is, you guys? Like, I have never seen it like in real life. I just saw it in like this picture and online, and I think it looks beautiful. Now, let me quickly mention a few details about the performance before I move on to the next fragrance. Look, from what I've tested it so far, on my skin it lasts for around 4 hours. I feel like 4 hours and a bit, maybe 5 hours, it depends if I prep it and everything. On clothes, in all honesty, I haven't tried it. It's not a scent profile that I gravitate towards, let's say, you know, it's not a scent profile that I feel the need to wear, so on clothes I haven't tried it yet. But I definitely, on clothes it will last better. And also, please keep in mind, you might get a better performance than I get, because fragrances on my skin, they don't last usually. So yeah, now let's move on to the next fragrance. I have here Qaed al Fursan by Lattafa, but this is the unlimited version. Also, I don't know if she wants me to mention her name, but thank you so much if you're watching for the decants. You know who you are. I had the chance to try out a lot of amazing fragrances that if it weren't for you, I wouldn't have the chance to try them. So yeah, highly appreciated. Now let's, like I told you, let me tell you how this one smells like. Okay, so this has very interesting notes breakdown. I think this is marketed as unisex as well, but when you look at the notes, you might ask yourself, how could this be a unisex fragrance? Look, to me, this fragrance, the opening is not my favorite part. Look, in the opening, it smells like a cold, almost like lime or a cold bergamot, but very strong, mixed with the smell of baby formula in a sense, even though this might sound very weird, but it's like that powdery, slightly sweet, milky feel, but powdery, you know, this is why I say baby formula, and a soft but like very shy woody hint in the background. Look, the opening is not my favorite, but luckily I feel like 10 minutes in, not even, perhaps 6-10 minutes in, that citrus accord fades away completely, and I'm very happy about that, because to me it was almost like it was out of place, you know, like when you smell this fragrance, and especially when you smell how beautiful it develops, let's just say 20 minutes in, and what a beautiful milky lactonic gourmand fragrance it becomes, you're asking yourself like, what was with the citrus accord in the opening, you know, like it made no sense. But luckily it tones down completely, and the fragrance, like I told you, after 10 minutes it starts to get much richer, much fuller, much denser, much warmer, and you detect this like lactonic feel, like if, how to say, like when I smell this fragrance, I'm imagining like, imagine sweet condensed milk, okay? You put in that sweet condensed milk 2 scoops of baby formula, and you drizzle some coconut on top, because you also get some slight coconutty like sweetness, but it's not the kind of coconut that leans suntan lotion. It's the kind of coconut that to me smells like coconut flakes, you know. So it's creamy, it's lactonic, it's milky, you know, but milky, how to say, like condensed milk type of feel. All these happens, let's just say, in a wooden bowl, in my eyes, or like in my mind, because I also detect some like soft but very soft woody facet in the background, you know. So it's almost like you make this concoction in a woody bowl. It's quite cold in a sense, but it's very beautiful. But also, can I just say that the lactonic feel here to my nose, it's very realistic. Now it doesn't smell like milk, it smells like sweet milk, you know, like sweet condensed milk in a way, like, so it's quite thicker, quite creamier in a sense, you know. It's not fluffy, you know, it's not like a lactonic accord that leans whipped cream in a sense. No, it's quite thick, quite quite rich in a sense. But also it has something muted about it, because the sweetness, yes, it's present, but in a sense it's almost like it's muted. It's almost like it's lost between all the milky accords. But keep in mind that soft woody hint in the background, and keep in mind, I feel like the key with this fragrance, there are two things. First one, don't judge it by the opening. The opening to me, it's so... The opening doesn't fully represent this fragrance. It's not the best stage, honestly, because like I told you, that citrus facet is quite misplaced there in a sense. But give this fragrance 10 to 15 minutes and it will open up so beautiful. It will get so gourmand, so delicious smelling, but again, keep in mind the lactonic gourmand. Now, second thing to keep in mind, performance is not the best on this fragrance, but again, for the price, I don't think it's such a big issue. At least for me, where I live, I can find it for around 15 euros. 15 euros, sometimes maybe a bit more, sometimes maybe a bit less, but basically it's a very affordable fragrance. It comes in 100 ml, so my tip for you would be, look at it as a body spray. If you decide to purchase it with the thought that you are purchasing a body spray in mind, and then you will be completely surprised because it actually lasts more than a body spray, you know. But if you buy it thinking that you will buy the next beast mode fragrance, you will be disappointed. Let me quickly mention a bit about the performance. Look, 4 hours tops. That's about it, honestly. But in those 4 hours, if you actually overspray this fragrance, you will have a beautiful scent bubble, like a very beautiful scent bubble around you. If people come, let's just say in your, more in like a personal income, if they come very close to you, they will definitely be able to smell this fragrance on you. But this is not the kind of fragrance that, let's just say, like when you walk into a room, everyone around you will smell it. But this is actually a good thing, because I know not everybody is looking for that level of a beast mode fragrance, you know, especially in the summertime. Now, look, if you have any ideas what I could layer this fragrance with, please let me know. I tried to layer this fragrance with, I have a body lotion from Victoria's Secret in the scent Coconut Passion, and in my mind that was supposed to be like the best combo, you know, like this has coconut, you know, it has this like milky lactonic sensation with that like soft but very soft and shy woody feel in the background. I thought that if I were to layer it with something made around coconut and vanilla, it would be like a match made in heaven. But you guys, it smelled so weird and so off for the first 20 minutes. I didn't like at all that combo. I don't know, maybe I will have to revisit it, because I don't know, maybe I will have to revisit it, but first impressions, no, definitely didn't work. So yes, if you have any layering ideas with Qaed al Fursan, but the unlimited version, please let me know. I will be forever grateful to you, because I do really like this fragrance. And I feel like lately I am very drawn to creamy lactonic fragrances. I feel like it's a scent family that up to this point, I haven't explored it a lot in a sense, you know, and I'm just starting to like dip my toes into this scent family. And so far, I'm very surprised with what I have tried so far. So yeah, let's move on to the next fragrance. So this next fragrance is from the house of Ahmed al Maghribi. This fragrance is called Araak. And again, I have a decant of this fragrance, but you guys, I have fallen head over heels in love with this fragrance, and I ended up buying a bottle as well. Not that I needed it, but you know, I wanted it. It smells so beautiful. This has no Middle Eastern vibe to it. This is your typical designer-like DNA, but imagine if a designer fragrance would actually last, it would actually perform, and it will actually be something that's quite noticeable, you know. Like, I feel like when you wear this fragrance, it doesn't have any challenging facets about it, but it's a scent that it's feminine, you know, it's kind of elegant, but it has this like playful, like fun side to it, perhaps a bit naughty side in a sense, you know. Yeah, very beautiful. Now, let me actually tell you how this one smells like. Oh, but before that, let me show you the bottle. The bottle is so beautiful, you guys. Honestly, I feel like in reality, it looks much better than how it looked on the website. So yeah, so I have here the 50 ml. It only comes in 50 ml, but can you see these beautiful details? It's so beautiful. And also the cap. I don't know if it will show up on camera, but sometimes it kind of leaks out of nowhere. Like out of nowhere it leaks. I don't know what's going on. But yeah. So first of all, this fragrance is so oily, so if you buy this one, please keep in mind, especially if you wear it with lighter fabrics in terms of like the texture, you know, if you wear it with like softer fabrics, lighter colors, please keep in mind it will stain the fabric for sure, especially if you wear lots of white, you know, it could have the potential to stain it. But yeah, this opens up with a beautiful creamy vanillic tuberose accord. Now the tuberose accord reminds me a little bit of Good Girl from Carolina Herrera, but that's about it, just the tuberose accord. After that, I feel like the other notes in the accord that accompany this fragrance that make it go in a different direction. So it's not like a Good Girl inspiration in my opinion, it just has the same tuberose accord. So it's this like very creamy vanillic tuberose that's quite present. It's definitely noticeable, but it doesn't smell granny. However, it does have a slight greenness to it, but I feel like it's the kind of natural greenness that you find in a lot of tuberose accords, you know, in a lot of tuberose forward fragrances. But the greenness fades, so don't be afraid of that. So having the opening this creamy vanillic tuberose with some like crisp red fruits in the background and a slight musk. Like I told you in the opening, you have this beautiful creamy vanillic tuberose that's quite present, it's quite noticeable, so you do have to appreciate tuberose fragrances to appreciate this one. But you also have this like crisp red fruity accord, or like not even red fruity. I feel like it's more red fruity forward in the opening, but as it starts to develop, it comes forward, and I feel like you have this like bowl of fruits with musk type of fruity accord. You know, if you have tried Little Hearts from Ahmed al Maghribi, then you know that fruity accord that they used there, well, they used something similar in this fragrance as well, but I feel like it's a bit less pronounced in a sense, you know. Little Hearts, if you haven't tried that fragrance, it's an inspiration of Herba Pura. So you have this like bowl of fruits with musk feel as well, but it doesn't fully go up to the level that usually fragrances inspired by Herba Pura go, you know. I feel like it's a bit more subdued, it's a bit more muted, but still it's present in a sense. Now in the opening I told you the fruity accord is a bit more abstract, but as this fragrance starts to develop, you get like that like bowl of fruits with musk, so you get like a little bit of everything without anything standing out in particular, you know what I mean, with that creamy tuberose. But the creamy tuberose starts to move a bit into the background now, but the fragrance, like the key word for this fragrance is creamy, sweet, feminine, kind of playful, you know, kind of elegant a little bit without being too elegant. And as you start to get closer to the dry down, I feel like, at least on my skin, you lose the tuberose feel at all. Basically, you lose it the more it starts to develop on the skin, and now I feel like in the dry down, the fruity accord shines the most. It's almost like it has opened up, and now I can detect some like sweet citruses, I can detect some like yellow fruity facets, some red fruity facets, I can detect something from like that like apple freshness type of feel with the musk and with the beautiful creamy vanilla. Now you guys, if I love this fragrance, like, how to say, even though it's nothing out of this world, like they haven't like reinvented the wheel, you know, but they took the DNA and they made something so beautiful, so statement, so powerful, but so enjoyable from it. This fragrance, honestly, to me, look, unless you completely despise Good Girl, like you hate that fragrance, like I don't know, like you have some perhaps some like negative memories associated with that fragrance, I don't think there's a reason to not enjoy this fragrance. I'm not the biggest fan of Good Girl. I like it, but I don't think it's a scent that usually necessarily like defines me in a way, you know. But this fragrance, like I'm telling you, they took the tuberose, but they made it go into a completely different direction, and it's very easy to enjoy, nothing challenging about it, but it's very strong, very oily. Performance is amazing. It lasts more than 6 to 7 hours on my skin, you guys. On clothes it lasts for days, in your hair again it lasts for days. This is the kind of fragrance that like you wear when you want to go out, like for instance for a date maybe, or a date night with your partner, or you're going out clubbing, or you're just going out to a restaurant and you want to smell very feminine, you know, you just like did your makeup, you know. It gives me this vibe. You apply like a glittery body lotion, you know, it has this type of energy to it. So yeah, I would recommend you to get this fragrance if you want something for day-to-day wear, but it's quite versatile, meaning that you could dress it up, you could dress it down. If you want something that's like, it could be your grab-and-go fragrance, but it could also be your date-night fragrance, you know. Basically a fragrance that's overall very versatile, but very feminine, quite elegant, but like I told you, with that like playfulness in a sense, you know, it has something very playful about it. It's not serious at all. Yeah. Love this fragrance. Let's move on to the next one. Now let's continue with the fragrance from Ahmed al Maghribi as well. This is called Rose Noir. Now I was so happy, you guys, when I ordered Araak. I just received 2 samples as a gift for purchase, whatever, from the website, and I don't know how the universe works, but basically the lady put there 2 samples that I got a lot of questions about, and I was very happy to test them. So she put a sample of Rose Noir, so I will let you know how I feel about this fragrance as well. And she also put a sample of a fragrance from Afnan, from the Turati line, the purple one. Yeah, Turati purple. So let's continue with Rose Noir. You guys, this fragrance is very unusual. This fragrance is honestly nothing like I expected it to be in a sense. It's a fragrance, to me, basically it has like 2 very different, like fundamentally different accords and 2 very different facets put together, but in a sense that they amplify each other in a way. It's very interesting. Nothing challenging about this fragrance, but again, I don't think it's the kind of fragrance that everyone will enjoy it in a sense. I do think you should test it prior. But look, this one again, very oily. Something about fragrances from Ahmed al Maghribi, you guys, their oil concentration is so high and it shows. Like, I'm telling you, like when I wear Araak and I apply it on my skin, like where I sprayed that fragrance, it legit looks like I applied oil on my skin. That's how oily it is, this one as well. Now this one, here are the notes. Look, this one here, I don't get it as much, but I mean not as much. I do get it, but not as pronounced. But on my skin, it's even more pronounced. Basically, this opens up with this like deep marine salty accord with a slight ozonic feel in the background. Quite cold, quite fresh, but like a deep freshness in a sense, you know, like a deep marine kind of freshness with a pinch of salt and with that ozonic feel. You have this accord basically on a base of like a creamy, slightly powdery vanilla ambery feel. And also this has a beautiful development and it's very strong, like very strong. Now look, I feel like to fully appreciate this fragrance, you need to appreciate fragrances that, how to say, maybe they're a bit more creative in a sense. Let's just say 30 minutes in, that like deep marine freshness starts to tone down and it has a beautiful development, but you still need to get past the opening, you know. So yeah, but to me it's worth it. Look, if you like fragrances, it does remind me a little bit of Olympia, but I don't think it fully goes into that direction. This is something that I've noticed with fragrances from Ahmed al Maghribi. They take, let's just say, a popular DNA, okay? They take, I don't know, even with Little Hearts, even with Araak, even with Rose Noir, they take a DNA that's perhaps more designer-like, you know, it might remind you of certain designer fragrances, but they always add their own twist and their own touch. And they add this like monstrous performance. I don't know how they do it, honestly, because I have tried oily fragrances, but not all of them were like as strong as these ones, you know. Now keep in mind, some, especially those that are very affordable from the brand, they have a slight synthetic undertone to them, a slight artificialness to them. But for instance, with this one, I don't notice it. With Araak, I don't notice it. And with a lot of other fragrances that I have tried from them, I don't notice that aspect. Yeah, so it's very interesting, you guys. It's almost like it's very cold but hot at the same time. I don't know why I get this feel. Yeah, and as it starts to develop, you slowly start to lose a bit of that like deep marine freshness that was very pronounced in the opening. You still have the ozonic facet, you still have a bit of the saltiness as well. But now I feel like that vanilla starts to shine more, the slight ambery facets start to shine more, and you also do get this like powdery spicy feel, especially in the dry down, that to me smells like ginger powder, like powdered ginger, you know, like the spice basically. So yeah, beautiful development. It kind of has a very interesting development in a sense, and I feel like in the dry down it's more Now I don't want to say mainstream, but it's more safe in a way, you know, but the opening is not safe at all. So let's move on to the second to last fragrance. This is called Eros, and again this is from Ahmed al Maghribi, and again thank you for the sample, not a sample, decant even. Look, this fragrance, even though it's definitely not something that I would reach for, but it's so beautiful. It's like, objectively speaking, it's such a well done fragrance. If I would have to, again, this doesn't have any Middle Eastern undertone to it. This is pretty much your designer fragrance. But if I would have to put this fragrance in like a designer brand's catalog, I would put this one into the Bulgari fragrance catalog. It has, look, if you've tried Bulgari fragrances, you know that they are not really, how to say, all of them have this like refined feminine elegance about them, this like classy, timeless beauty about them. None of them are like trend followers, you know, like you don't see like, just because like a cherry is popular, you don't see Bulgari coming out with a cherry perfume. To me, it's a brand that likes to keep things classy, keep things feminine, you know, keep things elegant. This does have that refined elegance as well about it, but it's also a little bit delicate but very feminine. But feminine, how to say, like I would picture this fragrance on a woman who's kind, she's warm-hearted, perhaps a bit shy perhaps, but very well-mannered, you know. She likes to always speak with a certain level of, with her voice. She doesn't, you know, articulate a lot with her hands, you know. She's like she has always like a very good position, you know, like she always knows what to do. This is the feel it gives me. Yeah, this opens up with a fruity accord that's quite tangy in a way, and with something that to my nose smells like purple flowers, like violet, that type of feel. A slight citrusy feel in the background, but like a sweet sour feel in a sense, but very subdued, just in the background to give it a bit of complexity. And that like specific laundry detergent kind of musk, you know. But here it works very well because this fragrance doesn't smell like a straight up laundry detergent, but it has that like laundry detergent kind of musk. But you get it more, I feel like, in the opening and in the heart. In the dry down it fades completely and it gets deeper, slightly more darker, a bit more not earthy, because it doesn't smell earthy, but it has something more grounding about it in a sense, you know. Yeah, very beautiful, you guys. Timeless, classy, well-mannered, proper. This fragrance is a proper fragrance. I don't know how to describe it. It smells like, I would picture this one on a woman who's very proper, you know, like she's very like I told you, like well-mannered, like delicate, very classy. She doesn't want to follow trends, you know. She prefers this like natural beauty, you know. She prefers more like classy, timeless pieces in a sense. Her style, it's feminine, but it's neither very elegant nor very sporty, you know. But she exudes this elegance, but this like soft, radiant elegance about her in a way. Yeah, I don't think it smells mature, but I do think you need to appreciate florals to appreciate this fragrance, honestly. But if you do, again, like if you want to try this fragrance, please don't blind buy this fragrance. Please, I feel like a broken record, but please get a sample if you have the possibility. So as this one starts to develop, you lose the tangy fruitiness, I feel like. You lose some of the citruses, but the citruses were never very strong to begin with, so keep this aspect in mind. The really full, round, dense purple flower smell starts to get this like powdery facet in a way, and you start to get this like beautiful, like something very grounding about this fragrance, like not earthy, because I don't think it comes from patchouli in a sense, but grounding in a sense, like mellow, like relaxing, like simplistic in a sense. It's again a very beautiful fragrance, but I think you need again to have the taste for this kind of fragrance. This, to me, I feel like I would recommend you this fragrance if you are looking, look, if you want to gift this fragrance to someone, I think it would make an amazing gift for mothers out there, or usually for women who have this, again, delicate femininity to them and this elegance, but like a soft, like natural like elegance, you know. It's not like they're trying to be elegant, they are just elegant by nature in a sense, you know. So let's move on to the last fragrance for today's video. This fragrance is from Armaf, this fragrance is for men, and this is from, again, their Club de Nuit series. This is the blue iconic one. Yeah, this is marketed towards men, and I feel like this is that, again, that like straightforward masculine fragrance, you know what I mean? Yeah, like when you smell this fragrance, like you think of a really manly man in a way. Yeah, but it's very beautiful, but look, should I give you a spoiler? I'm gonna give you a spoiler before I talk about the notes. My favorite part is from the opening till the heart, because then I feel like it's a bit more, it's something that you don't smell everywhere, but I feel like in the dry down, yes, it still smells very beautiful, it still smells very masculine, but it's a DNA that's more common in a way, you know? So yeah, my favorite part is from the opening till the heart, but I love how this fragrance smells like. Love how this fragrance smells like. Okay, so this opens up, here are the notes. This opens up quite like a little bit citrusy, but like a very cold citrus with this like deep woody freshness in a sense. Something very cooling and arctic like, you know, like icy type of feel, but very fresh, but not like sweet blue and fresh, more like a deep freshness, you know. Yeah, I love to smell the opening of this fragrance. It smells so beautiful. Wow. Not, how to say, not the most refined one, you know, but again, we are talking about Armaf fragrances. Armaf is not known, how to say, for the smoothest fragrances, you know. They are known usually for dupes, and good dupes, but a lot of the fragrances from Armaf that I have tried do have this slight artificialness to them, you know. And I'm not saying this in like a negative way, but this is just something that I've noticed. So I feel like if you have a really sensitive nose, you might pick up this aspect a lot more, but if you don't have a very sensitive nose, you might not even get it at all, you know. Yeah, it's like a deep blue, fresh, kind of marine in a way, with a slightly woody hint in the background, some like really cold citruses, but again, like very far in the background in a sense at this moment when I'm smelling it in the opening, with something that's quite a kind of like arctic, icy, you know, really cold, very beautiful, and very, how to say, like alluring, you know. But as this one starts to develop, it starts to lose that really deep freshness, you know, that like marine freshness in a sense. It starts to lose that like arctic, I cannot pronounce this word, arctic icy feel. I feel like it starts to get more generic. In a sense, you start to get this like very pronounced woody feel with a slight citrusy vibe, with a slight incensey touch in the background. But again, the incense, it's almost like you don't know if it's the incense or if it comes from the woody accord, you know, from something from the wood there. Look, honestly, I really like how this fragrance smells. Like, I don't know, again, when it comes to fragrances for men, I don't know what's trending, what's popular, which ones are similar to which ones, you know. My knowledge when it comes to masculine fragrances is not as good as my knowledge when it comes to feminine fragrances or when it comes to unisex fragrances, so I can't compare it to any how to say, to like any popular designer fragrances. But I can tell you this, as a woman, I love how this fragrance smells. Like I told you, my favorite part is the opening till the heart, because that's when it's a bit more unique to my nose. That's when it smells really, really manly, really beautiful, but it has something that makes it stand out. In the dry down, again, it smells very beautiful, but I feel like it's very different to how it smelled in the opening, and in the dry down it reminds me like of other masculine designer fragrances in a sense. But it's nothing bad. Look, if you want something sporty but also kind of casual, you could wear it to your gym, you could wear it to a date night, you could wear it, I don't know, when you go out with your friends, you could wear it clubbing, you could wear it basically anywhere. I think this is a really good fragrance. Yeah, I really like how it smells, honestly. In the opening, it reminded me, but like a tinge, honestly, like the slightest bit of Gladiator from Soradora. I had that same like really cold sensation, but here it's a bit different. Here it's slightly deeper, you know. That one was not as deep as this one, but that's about it. Besides that, I feel like they are two different fragrances. Yeah, I really enjoyed this fragrance, you guys. Honestly, I don't know what what else to tell you about this one? Again, I can't compare it to anything else, but objectively speaking, and not only objectively, subjectively speaking, I love how this fragrance smells like. And if you're looking for a fragrance that's very easy to enjoy, there's nothing challenging about this fragrance, that I feel like will get the compliments from the ladies, you know, because I feel like women love this kind of fragrances on men. And like I said, you guys, it has something quite alluring about it, you know. I do think this is a fragrance that will get you compliments, honestly. And perhaps not like verbal compliments, but like mental compliments for sure, you know, because I feel like women, especially when you sense someone or a man that smells very good, like you don't go to that man and you're like, oh my God, you smell so good. But you just give him like a mental compliment, you know. You're like, in my mind, oh, he smells really good, you know. So I feel like this is the kind of fragrance that can have the potential to get you a lot of like mental compliments from women, you know. Okay, you guys, so this is everything I wanted to tell you about these 6 fragrances. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video if you enjoyed it, because it would help me a lot. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe, and let's grow this community, and let's all learn and share amazing fragrance tips with one another. So if you have tried any of these fragrances, please share your thoughts about them down below. I'd love to read your feedback and your experience with the fragrances, and like I told you, I'm sure people who are actually interested in purchasing any of these fragrances could really use your feedback as well. So yes, thank you so much for watching, you guys. Don't forget, you can follow me on Instagram if you want to get to know me a bit more on a personal level than here on YouTube. Follow me there. So yeah, I will see you in my next video, but until then, thank you so much for watching, and I want to wish you an amazing day wherever you are. Bye.